learners, my name is Nampela Maureen. I'm a teacher and I have my friend John, who is from Uganda Sign Language. And together we are going to do a social studies lesson for primary 7 first term. And in this lesson we are going to talk about the water bodies that surround Africa. But before we go to the lesson, let me remind you about the deadly disease called COVID-19. This disease is already in our country and we have to take all the caution and stay at home. For this lesson, you shall need a pen, a pencil, and a book where you are going to write your work. But if you have an atlas with you, please bring it and open where you have a world map. And if you don't have an atlas and you have a wall map, you can bring it because we are going to use it for this lesson. You can also bring, or you are going to make, a compass card. And on this compass card indicate the north, the south, the east, and the west. You can also indicate the northeast and the northwest, the southeast and the southwest points on your compass. So let me give you 1 minute to get ready. Dear learners, in this lesson we are going to talk about the water bodies that surround Africa and talk about their uses to us. But before we start the water bodies, let's open our atlases and look for the world map. So open your atlas where you can see the world map. Now look at the world map. Now on the world map, you're going to see the different continents that make up the world. Can you give me one of the continents? Yes, we have Europe. Good. There is Europe. Then we have Asia. You can see Asia on the world map. And we have Australia. Yes, there is Australia. You have America. Yes. And there is also Africa. So I want you to touch Africa. Turn to your world map and touch Africa. Good. Now put your compass card in Africa. We are going to use that compass card to look at the water bodies that surround Africa. All right. Let's look at the north of Africa. There is a water body. Can you give me the name of that water body? Yes, the water body is the Mediterranean Sea. So the Mediterranean Sea is the water body that separates Africa from Europe. Can you touch the Mediterranean? Yes, that is the Mediterranean. And write the word Mediterranean. Okay. Very good. Now let's move to the west. Look at the west. What is the water body that washes Africa's western coastline? Oh yes, that is the Atlantic Ocean. So the Atlantic Ocean washes Africa's western coastline and it separates Africa from America. So that is the Atlantic Ocean. All right, when you move down Africa's coastline, the southernmost part of Africa, we see another ocean called the Southern Ocean. So the Southern Ocean washes Africa's southmost shore. Now let's go to the west, to the east. On the east, you have the Indian Ocean. This Indian Ocean, remember very well, it is the ocean that the early Arabs crossed when coming to Africa on their dhows. So they were sailing from India to Africa across the Indian Ocean. So they used their dhows to come to Africa. So that's a very important ocean to us. Now let's move to the northeast, the northeast of Africa. We have the Red Sea. And the Red Sea is also a very important ocean. It separates Africa from Asia. And remember, in the Bible, the Red Sea is there. It is where the children of Israel crossed from Egypt to the Promised Land. So the Red Sea is very important. It is also washing Africa's northeastern coastline. So now we know the water bodies that surround Africa. Can we remind ourselves? We have 2 seas and 3 oceans. Let's remind ourselves about the seas. What are the seas? Yes, we have one sea called the Red Sea. Can we touch the Red Sea? The Red Sea. It is separating Africa from Asia, right? That is very good. Then we have the Mediterranean Sea. This sea separates Africa from Europe. So those are our 2 seas, the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. Good. Now let's look at the oceans. We say there are 3 oceans that wash Africa's coastline. So we have the Atlantic Ocean that washes Africa's western coastline. And we have the Southern Ocean that washes Africa's southmost coastline. And the Indian Ocean that washes Africa's eastern coastline. So those are the 3 oceans and the 2 seas. All right. Now we want to look at the importance of these water bodies. How are the water bodies important to us? Are these water bodies important? The answer is yes. They are very useful to us. And how are they useful? 1, these water bodies are used for transport. They carry the goods from one continent to the other. For example, we can transport things from China to come to Uganda across the Indian Ocean. So they are very important for transport. And they transport both people and goods. So one time you can go by ship to America or to Europe or to Asia. So for transport, number 1, transport. Number 2, these water bodies are very important because they help us in fishing. They are fishing grounds. We catch large volumes of fish on large water bodies. The fish we normally eat is canned. That fish comes from the large oceans. So they are used as fishing grounds. We catch all the fish, both big and small. There are other water animals. For example, we have the large whale. That whale cannot live in Lake Victoria. No. It lives in large waters. And the shark. The shark is also a very big sea animal. So these water bodies can be used to catch large sea animals, and some of them we eat. So they are used for fishing and they are used for water animals. Now, another reason why the water bodies are important is that we use them. Most of the Africa's oil refineries are located on the coastline. If you look at the map of Africa, you will realize that most of Africa's oil refineries are along the coasts of the oceans or the seas, because we need a lot of water in processing crude oil to make products. So most of Africa's oil refineries are on the coast of Africa. So these large water bodies are very important to us because they are used for oil refineries. Another thing we can imagine is that these water bodies are used for promoting international trade. All countries in the world, as you may know, we depend on each other. Uganda sells things to Europe, and she also buys things from Europe or from Asia and from America, and these goods come across the large oceans. They come to us. So goods from Africa go to America, go to Asia, go to Europe across the large oceans and seas. So the water bodies are very, very important to us as Africans and the rest of the world. And these water bodies, therefore, we need to protect them. We need them. Every one of us needs them. Now, in this lesson, dear learners, we have learned about the water bodies that surround Africa and their importances. But before we come to the close of the lesson, I have a simple exercise for you. So get a book and a pen, and I'm going to read an exercise for you, and you're going to answer these questions. There are only 4 questions. Get your book. All right, we have 4 questions for us to answer about what we have learned about. Question 1. Name the oceans that wash Africa's coastline. Name the oceans that wash Africa's coastline. That's 1. Question 2. What water body separates Africa from Antarctica? What water body What water body separates Africa from Antarctica? Number 3. Why is the Red Sea important in the Christian faith? Why is the Red Sea important in the Christian faith? The last question. Suggest any 4 uses of water bodies that surround Africa to the people of Africa. Suggest 4 uses of water bodies that surround Africa to the people of Africa. All right. Now let's get the answers and check and see whether we have the correct answers. Question 1 said, name the oceans that wash Africa's coastline. So, ocean number 1, we have said the Indian Ocean. 2, we have the Atlantic Ocean. And 3, we have the Southern Ocean. So those are the 3 oceans. the second question asked that which water body separates Africa from the Antarctica? And that water body is the Southern Ocean. So we talked about the Southern Ocean that washes the extreme south of Africa. The third question asked us to suggest the reason why the Red Sea is important in the Christian faith. We say that this is the sea that the children of Israel crossed from Egypt to the promised land. So that's why it's remembered. And the last question asked us to find or to suggest 4 reasons why water bodies that surround Africa are important. Reason number 1, we said these water bodies are used for transport. You got that? Yes. Reason number 2, we said that the water bodies promote international trade. Remember we said some goods come from Europe to Africa and from Africa to Europe. So they promote international trade. And 3, we say that these water bodies are used for fishing. So in fact, they're used for fishing. And we also said that the water bodies have most of Africa's oil refineries. And we also say that they are homes of large sea creatures. For example, the whale, the shark, they live there. So if I want to eat a shark, I shall go to the ocean. All right, dear learners, as we are coming to the end of this lesson, remember we have discussed the water bodies that surround Africa, and we have talked about their uses. We have located them on the map and seen where each one of them is, and have done an exercise and we have marked it. I thank you very much for listening. But again, I have to remind you of the deadly COVID disease. Please don't touch your eyes, don't touch your nose, and don't touch your mouth. It's very dangerous because it is through the mouth, through the nose, and through the eyes that you can catch this disease. And please stay at home. Don't move. This country needs you. And always wash hands with soap and clean water, because that is the way we can avoid this disease. I thank you very, very much. We shall have very many other lessons, but please keep at home. God bless you.